Hello divine creators, welcome to Demella Universe. We are Velastri. Thank you so much for joining us. It's time for a tarot reading. Let us see what Spirit would like to share with us today. Beautiful beings, let's see what's coming through at this time. Okay, we're ready. At the center of the read we have the Five of Pentacles. Within we have the Queen of Cups. Okay. Without we have the Ten of Swords. At the base we have Ace of Wands, crowning, Eight of Wands, and we have the Knight of Cups below the deck. We're going to tap into the overall energy just at the end. We're just going to do a bit of a different order. We're going to begin with the Five of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Ten of Swords, for they are weaving quite a fascinating story on their own. So within at the center we have the Five of Coins, within we have the Queen of Cups, and without we have the Ten of Swords. So what's happening is, at this time, there's a clearing of energies, a clearing of the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual bodies, a clearing of the frequencies, okay? And it has been happening for a while. This is a clearing that's been happening over, you could say, a 5-year period from around 2019 to now, with the change of the 2020 frequencies and the beautiful numerology and the beautiful shifts of energy which you've all been feeling. It has been a clearing and it's wrapping up, okay? So what happened? Oh, thank you, Source. 2019, humanity asked, 2020 perfect vision. We want to see our truth. We want to see our love. We want to see our abundance. We want to see our financial prosperity. Remember how excited we were as a human collective about the year number 2020, about those beautiful angelic numbers, 2 going to 4 foundation. We knew that it was a time of clarity, of truth, perfect vision, abundance, really aligning with your worth. We all felt a great, immense expectation of abundance and success. And this was a big intention, a big healing, a big weaving in order for that to happen. We all needed to see all the ways in which we pinned ourselves down, all the ways in which we limit ourselves, all the ways in which we held ourselves back, all the ways in which we suppressed ourselves, all the ways in which we restricted ourselves, kept ourselves away from receiving, from living, from being the abundance and the love that we are. We've always been abundant. We've always been that which we want. All that we ask for is born within us. First and foremost, it's simply seeing how we be, what we do, how we create, how we express ourselves, which prevents us from receiving it, which prevents us from being a receptive energy to it manifesting in our physical experience. And that was the awakening which we called in when we said 2020 perfect vision. And during this time, during this cleansing we've all been having since 2020 till now, releasing, things being removed, things being released, purging and cleansing, starting at ground zero in many aspects, whether it is finances, relationships, spiritual journey, personal journey, mental health, emotional health. We've all just had these periods, these segments, these areas. Some of us a whole clean slate with the whole frequency has completely been shifted to ground zero, the caterpillar, the complete rebirth from one way of being to another. And what way of being was it shifting to? shifting to from the way of oppression, the way of restriction, the way of limiting oneself. Here you are, and then limiting yourself by the illusion, by the external. From this to paths of the Queen of Cups, self-care, self-nurture, self-love. You were reweaving all of your paths, all of the ways you were being, your manifestations, your resources, everything that you were being, putting out energetically, and everything that you were receiving energetically was being reset from you putting out and receiving things that limited, restricted you, and kept you as in a lesser form, to you putting out and receiving things of love that care for you, that nurture you. So your expression was based within self-care, self-love, self-nurture, which is expression of existence, which is truth. Thus you were considering your truth, considering your well-being, taking acknowledgement of your well-being, taking accountability of your well-being, ensuring that everything you're doing is nurturing and caring for you. Every single conversation, every situation, every experience you're allowing yourself to participate in is caring for you, nurturing you, loving you. Thus, of course, you are then putting out that energy to everyone, loving, caring, and nurturing through source, and thus receiving it. So you were rewiring everything, all of your paths, all of your interactions, all of your frequencies were being reset from the illusion to love, to the receptivity of your highest experience, your highest love, your highest well-being, your highest truth, care, nurture, self-love, self-care. Okay. And so this was what you have been doing. Everything, right? Relationships, from narcissism and abuse and neglect to self-care, tender, seeing you, valuing you. Work experiences from being enslaved and controlled and abused to, again, work which nourishes you, that cares for you. Everything being reset from the suppression and the deprecation and the destruction of you to the nurturing, the care, the building, the creation, the loving, the liberation of you. And this is a beautiful cycle you have been through, and now it's come to an end. You have completed this. You have shifted everything which was coming to take you away to a place of self-love and self-care. And right now you are seeing it's the almost like the final, the little specks of dust, you know, on a garment where you can see little dust. That's what you're doing. It's like, okay, there we go. That's what's happening. It's the last little sprinkles, the last little ways, maybe your ways of thinking, maybe your ways of perceiving things, your ways of interacting. Little things now. The major ones have been done. Now it's the little things. And it feels little things are more tailored to. Give us a moment. Expression of you, expression of being. And comfort zones. Okay, so it is now the expressions of being. Are you really fully existing, expressing yourself fully in all situations? And you're finding yourself in this way. Fascinating. We have been having these interesting experiences where we're being stopped by strangers in the middle of the street when we're walking back from gym, to and from gym, or to and from nature, from our walks in the park. We were sitting in the sun today because it's a winter day, but we had beautiful sunshine, so it was nice and warm and toasting the sun. Not as in here, as you can see by the hoodie we're wearing. And as we were walking back from the park, these three young women stopped us, and they just introduced themselves to us, asked us of our name, and started just asking us a series of questions. And it's interesting, for the last week, just two gentlemen who did the same thing. We do not know what it's for. Perhaps they're a group, a youth group, or whatever it is, but we were just simply present and observing. And they simply asked us a few questions, and of course, we share truth. So they asked us a few questions on religion, a few questions on where we're from, a few questions just on our understanding of things, which was fascinating. And we just, of course, gave them a good 10 minutes worth of what we vibrationally think. We doubt it was what they expected, but however, they all received it interestingly. But that was just simply the example of, we didn't hold back. We didn't decide, oh, we need to now tailor it for those who are not understanding of the ascension process. We don't care. Doesn't mean we don't care, as we don't care. We care, but we do no longer care enough to change for you, we will tell you the truth of us. That's how much we care. We care so much, we're in our truth. We care so much for you that you will see our truth, whether or not you want the truth or not. But if you're going to ask us a question, be prepared for what you're going to receive. So expressing yourself in your truth. Are you expressing yourself in your truth in all spaces? And then also comfort zones are being tested in the sense of, are you still going to regress to comfort zones instead of actually owning your truth and owning your frequency and being authentic and being shining brightly? Or are you going to revert to fear? Are you going to revert to shielding and hiding? So it's really about seeing, where do you still perhaps pin yourself down for the sake of others, and how you are being encouraged within to always allow self-love, self-care, self-nurture, no matter the situation. If those ladies or those gentlemen had come up to us and we felt uncomfortable, we would have just said no. If we felt this is not something for us to answer, we always check in. We always check in. So should they approached us and they said want to ask a question, we felt say no, we would have said no, thank you, and kept on walking. Always honoring how we feel, not just pleasing people. We're not interested in people pleasing. We're interested in being our truth and existing, right? And this is what's really being shown to you in all areas, whether you are still people pleasing or enabling others in some way, or enabling certain thoughts, enabling certain ways of being, which aren't aligned with you. Are you still doing this, or are you actually shining and being in this Queen of Cups energy at all times? This is because now that you're completing this, you're wrapping up that healing, that transmutation of unawakened to awakened energies, because that's what that central message was. Now there's these changes happening, okay? And in your crown, in your mind space above, there's lots of changes, lots of information. You're receiving a lot of clarity about yourself, a lot of communication, a lot of perception shifts, a lot of changes in which how you are being, how you're presenting yourself, how you're expressing yourself, a lot of changes how you see the world, how you are receptive to it. And this is because it's you becoming the crystalline receptive frequency to your path, to your desires. And here below, the Ace of Wands, finally allowing you to have these co-creations, these experiences which are new, which are in your truth, which are in your manifestation. Just as these people coming to ask us questions randomly, which it's very rare. We don't really have people walk up to us, but to have this experience and for us to acknowledge how different we are, even in our response, how in the past we could have perhaps appeased them or just went along with them in order to just save time and move on, or not to trigger anyone, just to say it for the sake of saying it. We used to always consider what the other one was feeling before we said it, in order for what we say to make sure it doesn't upset them. We no longer do that. We are simply speaking our truth. Whether it upsets them or not, it's entirely their own problem. Because what we're saying is from love. We're not saying anything to upset anyone. We're simply sharing our truth. And we noticed we are experiencing that change in how we are being, that difference in how we are approaching things, that difference in how we're expressing ourselves. And you are also all in your own individual ways going through these shifts of expressing yourself in your truth in a way which aligns with your love, your care. You are honoring you first and foremost, because when you are speaking or saying or presenting yourself in the illusion, you are choosing paths of suffering, of lack, of non-existence, and you're no longer doing that. You are resetting to love. And it is aligning now, as above, below, these powerful changes of how you're being in your mind space. You are now aligning to source, so much so that in your physical, you're also experiencing these opportunities, these experiences which are aligned to the source you are. New opportunities coming through for you, new experiences, new ways, new communication, new energies, co-creations, experiences, doors opening, paths opening up for you at this time, where you are really, they're shifting, okay, from paths of illusion where you are suppressed to paths of clarity, where you are liberated, where you are free, where you are aligning with your highest frequency of love, care, self-care, self-love, tenderness, nurture, your highest frequency of existence. And the Knight of Cups, finally, overall energy. You will receive the communication, okay? You will receive intuitively the communication, the clarity. This is where you are simply open and observing, because there's so much changing. There's so many energy shifts happening. There's a transmutation now. You've done the work. You've done the active work of clearing and consciously healing and consciously making sure that you're not aligning with things that keep you down, and consciously making sure that you're aligning with things that keep you in love. You have been doing this actively yourself, releasing everything, going to ground zero, saying, I'd rather have nothing than betray the source I am, than betray the soul I am. So now that you've done that energetically, or physically rather, and mentally, emotionally, now spiritually, energetically, the shifts are happening. You've given them more power, more freedom to flow in your manifestations, in your manifest life. So now it's time for you to experience these divine changes happening for you in the physical, as within, without, the Eight of Wands, that infinity frequency, as within, without, opening up these new paths, these new doorways, these new opportunities, which are born of your soul, born of the paths of the Queen of Cups. So it's new paths, new opportunities, new experiences which now tend to you. The opportunities you're engaging in, the communication, the experiences you're engaging in, they care for you, they nurture you. That's what you're attracting. That's all you're attracting. They cannot do anything. They cannot pin you down. Even though we felt very much when we were speaking to these groups of people that we were not what they were expecting. And did they have an outcome? We feel perhaps they were a group and they were trying to maybe get us to, one of those religious groups trying to get you to believe as they believe, that kind of vibe. But what we said disarmed them. They could no longer progress with whatever plan they had. We could feel that. And we had obviously also changed quite a bit of whatever programming they had, because we could see in their eyes and we could see in their expression. It was almost though they had a bit of a shift, and they left us almost in a bit of a daze, and we could tell that, okay, they cannot do anything to bring us back there. Our frequency can only take them there. It's a dominant frequency, so we shifted them there when you are in your truth, okay? So these opportunities, these things, these experiences you're having with people have to meet you now where you are at source. So source is saying you will receive the inspired intuitive promptings. When these paths come up, you'll know what to do. Don't worry. You'll receive the words, you'll receive the channel, you'll receive the guidance. And whatever comes in can only offer you love. So even though these individuals we spoke to, all they were, how can we say, they asked us questions and they were an audience to what we were saying, they could not harm us. Them just being receptive to what we were saying was an offering of love to us. Because should they have, if their beliefs or what they wanted from us was in opposition, because of where our frequency is, they couldn't fight it. They couldn't rebel against it. They couldn't be nasty. They couldn't be hateful or hurtful. They can't. Because our frequency demands that only love is received by us, because that's where we are in frequency. Thus their silence and their observation and listening, that was how they could offer love. And smiling. Some of them smiled once in a while when we said something which we could see shifted something in their perception or their understanding. So we don't look forward to seeing them again, or no, we're not interested in that way, but it would be fascinating to understand what they conversed about when they left us. So just trust that what is being offered to you, what is coming in, is an offering of love. It can only be an offering of love, even if it means that person is silent and just observing you. That's the most loving they can be. Don't demand they speak back. Don't demand. I didn't need to hear their thoughts. They asked, we shared, goodbye, we left. And we felt, they also said goodbye, thank you for your time, and we left. I did not need to hear what do they think, what do they believe. There's no need for that conflict. It wasn't inspired. So even if the person, if it's a loved one, a family member, a colleague, and you're expressing your truth and they at that time are just quiet, don't take it as a, they don't want to speak to me, they have nothing to say, or disrespectful. No, it's simply that their silence at that time is the best way they can honor the love you are. Let them go process, and when they're ready to come back with more of words of offering, which will be love, then they will. There's no need to force anything. It's simply a fluidity. There's simply a flow of energy. We're feeling the Knight of Cups coming with a go with the flow energy quite a bit here. Go with the flow in all experiences. Don't react, respond. Observe, respond, and trust that you, in your power now, you choosing and aligning with this path of self-love, self-care, self-worth, is you being source, you aligning with source, you loving within the frequency of source, and that however and whoever it is who's coming through to you, this stream, the experience, can only offer you the love of source. So you are protected. You are protected, and sources is coming through with the last message. Trust. Please don't worry about things not looking how you thought they would be. There are many shifts happening, okay? You are going through, there's a whole shifting of energy happening right now. And what you want, your abundance, your finances, your love, your relationships, whatever it is that you're wanting or you're requiring, is coming through. It's just coming in a way which honors your soul. So it might not come in the shape you want, or the time you want, or the vision you want. So release the outcome. Non-attachment, detach, be present, and simply allow a receptivity. All you are asked to be at this time is a receptivity. What we enjoy speaking into being or affirming each morning is we raise our frequency to the highest frequency available to us at this time, and we are a receptive point, a receptive core frequency to our desires and to all that's ready to manifest for us at this time. Meaning we're a vibrational match. We are a vibrational match to all that we're ready to receive at this time. We are a receptive point. We are the receptive crystal, the receptive center point, the receptive frequency, receptive match to everything. So we're in harmony. Everything that's ready to come through in our highest frequency, we are the receptive energy to it. We're not in resistance. So we shift our frequency to that place every morning. And then we simply just be. Knowing that whatever is ready to come through for us, whatever abundance, whatever it is, in however form, we are receptive to it. And we will see things that perhaps block us or that shift us, but we'll be aware of it because it'll feel off. And we will release them, and we will ensure that we're forever in the feeling of goodness, of happiness, of self-care, self-love, self-nurture. Blessed be.